He approaches the hero and says that he should not worry about testing points because everything is already there. It's been planned for a long time. He passes by, adding that it can be said that Mo Fan is just go out for a walk on the stage. The hero enters the stage and prepares for testing. The judge informs that if you're ready, you can start. At this time, Mr. Mu leaves the room where he is staying. A genius from his family. The girl carefully follows the new subject. A man comes out to his son, saying that the guy really did not disappoint him, because with such, he'll be ranked first in the entire school with his results. After that, the head of the Mu emphasizes that he will be a good head of the family if he continues like this. The man he asks if the man did what he told him to do. Mubai replies that everything is ready so they can just enjoy the performance. Into this time the hero tries to demonstrate his abilities on the ball, but next to that lies a strange purple stone that seems to absorb his power. That's when the genius from the Mu clan recognizes a rather strange sound during the release of the guy's power. People can see that the magic ball didn't catch fire at all. Many people start to think that they'll get kicked out of school, and someone even remembers the rumors about Mo Fan being in class number 8. I got into the academy with the help of connections. The hero grits his teeth, not understanding how this is possible. After all, he has already released power. He comes to the conclusion that something is definitely wrong with this ball. The judge fixes the hero's failure, and the other person asks him to listen and give him a chance to test his power release on a dummy. The director responds that this is a violation of the rules, because the ball didn't even have a sparkle, so what kind of release of forces can be discussed there? Mo Fan bows his head as he starts to walk out of the door. Arenas. This is a real failure, after which he will be dismissed from the academy. The man informs that the guy can leave. He's already preparing to summon the next student for a meeting. Testing. But the young teacher asks you to wait because she has claims to the test result. Students are amazed at what is happening because teacher Tan Yu intervened in the case. Somebody suggests that there may have been some problems. The man reports that the teacher is not. They should interfere with testing, and the girl in response says that they still have the right to making complaints, so she wants to check the device. She notes that, just now, the magic ball flashed and went out immediately, and from her experience, she can say that here, something's definitely wrong. The judge decides to concede, trusting the teacher. It allows you to check that balloon. Students, they keep whispering. The guy who was going to the toilet asks his friend what happened and asks him what happened. Is testing already over? The interlocutor replies that there are some problems with it's an evaluation device, so it's currently being investigated. The ball is pushed aside and you can see shards of some kind of rock. The reviewer reports that there is something here. The director is given the found object, saying that they found pieces of the shadow object under the ball. The stone. The same is amazed at such a find, not understanding how such an object could get inside. School. The man declares that he is obliged to investigate the case, and the disciple Mo Fan can continue your testing. The hero thanks for this. A genius from Mu recalls that the stone can absorb released magic, but no one is allowed to use it except the court to use it, so even for her, the question arises why it appeared here. Mo Fan lets out a deep breath, then refocuses on his strength by placing his hand on his chest. He lights up in an instant, and in a small radius from his place they begin to splash jets of fire. The stars light up in his friend's eyes, and then he declares that Brother Fan is really cool. He puts his elbow on the fat man's shoulder, declaring that this is Brother Fan's true strength. Tom just nothing to say. All three judges give the hero the highest score, as well as Mobai, and the teacher notices that this boy is so strong that the magic ball can barely hold on. Mr. Mu slams his fist on the glass, saying that this Tan Yu woman ruined their plan. My son doesn't know what to do. He's afraid of being discovered. My father asks me not to worry, assuring that no one ever knows about his involvement in this incident. The man leaves. Mobai mentally notes that even though the guy hasn't been kicked out yet, but the winner was everyone. Same him. He returns to the stands, where one of the students admires the hero's strength. He's not. He understands how anyone could call him a loser if he's so good with fire. The best student in class 8 asks the kid to move over. He sees Mo Fan burn. Target with your fire. Mobai grits his teeth, mentally not understanding how this is possible. After all, initially, he couldn't even put the stars back in place. Only after a couple of seconds it comes to that Mo Fan might have purposely hidden his powers all this time. Mr. Mu enters the arena, admitting that there really are a lot of new students in their academy. Talented students. He notices that Mo Fan is quite good with fire, so he can train with them in the domain of Mu. The guy will have a chance to get a lot of valuable information. Development of things. The hero, on the other hand, looks at Mu Jo-yoon with anger and clenched fists. The man calmly clarifies, so what answer will the young man give him? Mo Fan confidently refuses this offer. The current director calls the guy to prudence, because this is one of the former headmasters of the academy and part-time head of the Wu family, so if he has the support of such a great family, then the rate of his magical growth will be incredible. The hero declares that he is not going to accept such help, especially from him. Director once again calls the guy to prudence, but Mr. Mu approaches Tom and tells him that this Mo Fan was the one who abducted the young lady from their family 3 years ago. Then, he notices that then he showed mercy to him, but it turns out that he not only did not, I am grateful to him, but also openly shows hatred and disrespect. The director's gaze changes, and then he looks at the hero like the last scum. Mo Fan is the same, calls on Mr. Mu to stop sneering at weaklings, because he is nothing more than a coward. Guy, he says that he will definitely return the favor for all the humiliations that he had to endure to my father because of him. Head Mu is angry. He releases his ice power, calling the guy a creature. His teeth grind together in pain. Anger toward him. A man wants to teach an impudent person a lesson. The students start to tremble in fear, thinking that Mo Fan has no brains at all since he thought of it. Offend the Mu family. Mu Bai is happy about this development because the guy is digging for himself a grave. In the next instant, a genius from the Mu clan chimes in. The girl asks for her own. Her father didn't bother to let her deal with him. Their eyes touch, after which the hero declares that he was very stupid to believe her. However, everyone in the Mu family is made of the same shit. Mo Fan uses the power of fire, releasing a fiery spark. The girl responds with the element of ice, the ice vine. Her power, it turns out to be stronger, and the guy is covered with a layer of ice. The beauty calls the guy to apologize in front of her father, but he refuses to do so. Then the man himself intervenes in the conversation, saying that that's enough and that he understands his anger. The head of the Mu family turns to the director, offering him the following option. He has. Yuang's adopted son is the same age as this young man, since Mo Fan wishes to fight until after the end, then let him duel with Yuang when he reaches the age of majority, and if Mo Fan, if he wins, then he will fulfill any one of his wishes. The director notes that this sounds good. The hero agrees to this. The ice that binds his body gradually turns into water under his feet by the action of fire. The man also mentally emphasizes that this boy is very disgusting, so he can't wait to see how he will be beaten up in 3 years. After that, the man and his daughter begin to leave the arena for testing, and the hero encourages them to wait, because he will definitely win in that duel. They decide to show us the thoughts of the test winners. It all starts with 4th place, Jo Min, the owner of the power of fire, who received an overall score of a ++. The girl confesses herself. I told myself that I didn't expect that loser Mo Fan to be stronger than even Mu Bai. On the 3rd floor, it was the owner of the power of thunder, Zhu Jiaoting, who surpassed the 4th place. By releasing power, reaching a score of B, he recalls the proverb, through the sky is the sky, through man is man. It means that even if you think that some person, or if you are already at the very top, there will always be a person who will beat you. 2nd place, occupied Mu Bai with his ice power. The guy is very unhappy with this. It hurts him to see it. 1st place went to Mo Fan, who knew that his magic would be the best. He's thinking about it. Go get some chips to celebrate. At this time, the girl nearby, Ha Yu, who took 34th place, looks at the hero as an idol. She wonders inwardly that this is the case. It looks really great. Stars light up in her eyes, and a blush appears on her cheeks. After all, this is the first time that she gets into the best class, and if this goes on, then great success will no longer seem like a dream. Then someone pokes her in the shoulder. A representative of the fair sex turns around and sees slyly a smiling guy. It turns out to be Zhang Xiao, who, a friend of the hero, it is submitted and expresses a desire to find out the name of the interlocutor. The guy also introduces the hero, noting that they communicate with him very well. The beauty is surprised that the interlocutor is familiar with the number 1, Mo Fanum. The boy says that they are childhood friends. Then the teacher says that Zhang Xiao, who just transferred to a new class, but he still can't calm down. The man seems to be hinting that he's already in high school, so you should stop. Vandalize. The classmate introduces herself, after which the teacher calls for the last desk. Stop talking and start listening, because even if they will become the strongest magicians, but this is all just the beginning. Every mage must constantly train and improve their skills. Man opens a small box containing an artifact. Everyone understands that in front of them is the magic machine of the galaxy, the dream of any practitioner. Galaxy Magic Machine improves abilities such as agility, defense, and speed reactions, and can also recuperate if needed. The teacher mentally notes that the pests began to fuss as soon as they saw the car. He says that this car is very expensive, valuable, there are only 3 of them in their class, so you need to work with it very carefully. Then they will conduct exam. Only the very best can use them, so the teacher asks not to be offended. The first person to be called is Mo Fan, who gets up from his seat. Many are amazed at what exactly. This person is number 1 because he looks ordinary. The boys notice Mu Bai's face, who is extremely angry because he was beaten before Miss Mu herself. The teacher allows the guy to use this device. The hero mentally notes that the magic machine of the galaxy is very important to him, a magician who has 2 powers, so he will be sure not to miss this chance. Mu Bai says it's just an ordinary car for you don't have to be so excited about training, so you don't have to be so excited. After school, the hero decides to ask Zio who about what Mu Bai said, that magic. The car was an ordinary one, so there are no others. A friend explains that magic machines have differences in level, as well as they are divided into ordinary and spiritual. Training result on the spiritual machine will be twice as good as the result of training on a regular one. A friend states that Brother Fan was very cool, because he wasn't even afraid to contradict Mu Royan himself. The hero says that back then, he just couldn't resist seeing his smug face. The Wind Mage clarifies whether the interlocutor is sure of his action, because in 3 years he is waiting for a duel. Mo Fan gives a positive answer, adding that he is still his brother Fan. Lying in bed, the hero recalls Mu Bai's words, from which it becomes clear that Yuan has already trained on them. This piece of iron is 3 years old, so the guy should wait for death. Mo Fan also notes about remember that it's only 3 years, so he won't lose. Mo Fan wants to start training, but the pendant given by the old man comes into conflict with a magical artifact, causing the latter to turn into shards. This phenomenon is striking a guy to the core. The hero recalls the teacher's words that these Star Trek devices are very expensive. Therefore, he asks to treat them with the utmost caution during use, because if they break at least one, they will be eliminated from school. Mo Fan falls to his knees, seeing pieces from the device. He nervously considers what to do. He's thinking of gluing it together, the bracelet, but it's unlikely to work. The guy doesn't really want to be the first best, a student of the Tianlin school who will be kicked out of it. Mo Fan begins to ponder. If he's not mistaken, it's because he brought the bracelet close to your pendant. After that, he turns his attention to the grinning face on the table. The pendant, he feels as if he's just had a big meal, and the bracelet has split open from the heat, that he didn't have any energy left. The guy realizes that he was screwed. The teacher comes out of the bath in just a bathrobe, feeling blissful. Her phone starts ringing. She picks up the phone and is a little surprised, because it's coming from the school dorm. The beauty picks up the phone, greeting the stranger and asking him to introduce himself. The hero does just that. Then he starts to stammer. The teacher clarifies what happened. He reports that the Star Trek device broke down. These words throw the girl off balance. She immediately asks where he is now. After a while, they meet on the roof. The teacher apologizes for her. It's late, and Mo Fan turns to look at her. It also specifies where the device of the starry sky is located. Ways. The guy hands her the reason for his sleepless night with both hands. Tan Yu carefully examines the device, then informs that it can no longer be repaired. The guy with horror clarifies, is there really no way to fix it, because he does not want to. He was expelled. The other woman puts a finger to his lips, asking him to calm down. Guy blushes from this. The teacher asks you to tell us under what circumstances the Star Trek device turned out to be in danger. Such a sorry state. Mo Fan hesitates for a bit, but then decides to tell her. Everything is as it is. After that, Tan Yu clarifies whether this thing actually destroyed the Star Trek device. The hero explains that he was going to train, but as soon as he took out the device of the star, along the way, his pendant suddenly stuck to him, and then the Star Trek device crumbled to pieces. Small pieces. Taking the pendant in her hands, the girl notices that it is a magical device, developing by itself. Mo Fan nervously retweets in disbelief. Tan Yu explains that the pendant has the same features, properties similar to those of regular Star Trek devices, but it can also absorb the energy of others. The devices of the path are constantly evolving. That is, the Star Trek device broke down due to that this pendant had drained all the energy out of her. On the joy of the guy finds out if this pendant can become an item of the spirit level. After receiving A positive answer. The hero is happy because he will be able to speed up his development at times. The teacher decides to ask him exactly where he got such a priceless treasure because in the first place, he is not sure what to do with it. In the entire city, only the Mu family has treasures of this level. Tan Yu clarifies what it is and whether the cat really bit off his tongue. The hero doesn't know what to do this time. Answer. Then the beauty is very close to him. Mo Fan starts to worry after. Then he mentally notices if the girl wants to seduce him and steal the pendant. The guy briskly breaks the distance, saying that it is a family heirloom, and he was told that it is. There would be a gift for his future wife, so if teacher Tan Yu wanted it, then she would have to marry him, and it will benefit both of them. The hero takes the girl by the hand, which turns out to be very difficult, close enough to make her blush. The beauty laughs, being struck by such frankness. She returns the pendant to the interlocutor, asking not to worry, because she did not try to pick it up, and this device, Star Trek, is very closely related to it, so even if she took it, she wouldn't be able to get it. Use. The guy puts the pendant around his neck, rejoicing at such news, but Tan Yu, he says that there is one but. The fact is that this is a self-developing device, and without feeding spiritual energy, this pendant, it will be nothing more than a trinket. Mo Fan clarifies what spiritual energy is. Girl says that when monsters die, their energy will remain in the same state for some time. Light up your body and emit a special glow. This is spiritual energy. Mo Fan elaborates, so it turns out that the more monsters he kills, the more he kills. It will gather spiritual energy, and the more this little snake will grow. The teacher says that killing a monster is not as easy as he thinks, and at the end of the school year, there will be 2 months of practice in the wild, where he will learn everything for himself. She calls him for nothing. Don't tell anyone in the world about it. Tan Yu asks, while testing it, isn't it deliberately framed? The beauty jumps off the roof of the building and, landing on the ground, informs that while he will understand what is going on around him, he will be fine, and about the broken one devices, it will help in any way it can. The guy is amazed at such a jump. Mentally, he notices that calling Tan Yu's teacher was the right decision. He thanks Yu, the girl, and then returns to training. 6 months pass. The teacher is informed that these 2 months of practice they will be to train here on Mount Zufeng, while she and teacher Zhu congratulate them and wish them good luck on their journey. Hunting monsters. The teacher warns them again that there is no safe zone everywhere. Monsters. So if they don't have the ability to defeat monsters, then he advises them not to leave the safe zone. The students give a positive answer, and Mo Fan mentally notes that these days he has. It was as if the stars of his fiery soul were raging in earnest. It assumes that he would soon reach the 2nd level. A friend informs you that they have already arrived, so it's better get off the bus quickly. The bus stop, which is a safe area, offers a beautiful view of nature. The guy admires this, and the hero notices that this forest seems so beautiful, and he also likes it. Just full of life, so you can't even say that it is teeming with monsters. Mubai approaches them from behind, asking them what it is, and if Mo Fan is a coward. On this hero, he replies that he is not some impudent scoundrel, dragging everything he can reach into his greedy little hands. The guy decides to find out what the other person is driving it, but before Mo Fan can answer how, a fiery blow comes between them. A huge, muscular man orders you to leave the conversations, claiming that they are her own. The weakest group he'd ever trained. He has long black hair, a goatee, and the hand is covered in fire. It becomes clear that it was he who attacked the students. The big guy introduces himself. His name is Jan Kun, and he will be their instructor for that practice. Army training. The man points to the crater, stating that in that crater they will begin their search. Practice tomorrow. The hero's friend admires that even that crater is in the jurisdiction of the military outposts of the Zufeng mountain range. Someone raises their hand, wanting to know what their plan will be. Practice. The man uses his hands to show a list of tasks, so their destination is a grassy grove. The kid next to him notices that this sounds pretty easy, but the questioner is very interested. Dissatisfied with this answer and sees the words of the instructor as a failed joke, because I've heard that even the easiest task requires at least 3 or 4 hours to complete. 2 members of the hunter squad. Jan Kun does not see this as a problem at all, considering that the their class combined will be able to handle what a small squad of hunters can do. The man notices that if at least one of them copes with the task, then the entire class will receive. Score 5. The girl is in a hurry to find out what will happen if no one copes. Instructor. He replies that then all of them will be considered a failure. Teenagers are terrified by such words. After all, this is too cruel, because the results of this practice will affect whether they will be able to stay in the future, university or not. Jan-kun shuts up the talkers and alarmists with a loud roar, saying that those who do not want to participate, they can get out of here like cowards, because he is not interested in such garbage. But the more, those who complete the task will personally give out a protective magic device as a reward. A friend of the hero says that such protective devices are able to summon useful things. Right in the middle of a fight. Just then, a girl with a square hairstyle approaches Jan-kun, asking if he is wearing one of his own. Since you're going to give the magic device to them. The girl expresses a wish herself. Take part in this, because such a reward is too fantastic. The man asks if he likes her, also with a spoon to feed. The military addresses teenagers, informing that now they can enter, go to the outpost and start preparing for the task, and tomorrow they will be divided into groups, and they will be ready to go. They will be assigned tasks. The next day, the teacher says that Mo Fan will be the leader of the group, and his teacher will be the leader of the group. The second in command will be Juman, and as soon as they check their supplies, they can immediately move out. A friend of the hero is happy. But the fat man eats up his grief with a pack of chips because he does not need to. I was lucky to be on this team. 10 days pass. Mo Fan's group is moving along. The crevice. The girl asks how much farther they have to go because she can't see anything here but mountains and trees, and she was already tired. The guy says that, judging by the map, it is still possible to reach the place of arrival. About 30 kilometers. A friend of the hero notes that this is not just 30 kilometers, because they still have to climb the mountain and make their way through the valleys. The fat man asks to be allowed here. Take a seat, because after all, he is confident that young Master Mubai will be able to handle the task in the future. Alone. Here he is given 5 murderous glances, so he declares that it is possible. Assume that he didn't say anything, and they can continue on their way. Girls help each other on the way. A friend of the hero stumbles upon a cobra, but the hardest part is having to. A bully whose body is simply not prepared for such long transitions. Lifting under. With a slant, Mo Fan informs the entire group that they have only a short time left, and as soon as they are ready to leave, they will be ready to leave. If they overcome this mountain, they will reach the place of arrival. The deputy nervously asks the hero what to do with it. The girl who came up next. After the guys, he doesn't understand what happened and why they stopped. Behind her, take a breath of the fat man, who clearly lost the last of his strength on the rise, and a friend of the hero offers. Drink some water for the other girl. The beauty approaches the group leader and his deputy. Aware that they were standing at the edge of a cliff, she accidentally touches a pebble, which with a thud, it lands on the bottom of the depression. Badass grabs his head, reminding him that he said from the beginning that they should have just done it. Go your own way and let Mubai do everything, because they will get everything anyway. Fives. The guy doesn't even understand how they can cross this cliff at all. Mo Fan notices that there is no need to lose heart unnecessarily ahead of time, because Xiao who can use air magic to jump over a cliff and tie a rope on another one. At the end, giving them a chance to climb over it. One of the girls claims that she has just. There is a rope. The boy, who was assigned a serious task, asks to provide it to him. The guy is tight. He ties the rope firmly to a tree, then begins to focus on his strength. When the fat man distracts him, telling him that Tom should stop posing, and if he dies, then he should stop posing. It will somehow not matter, but it will be very problematic if the guy falls and breaks himself. The leg. Holding a rope in his hands, the hero's friend concentrates on the strength of the wind, after which he makes a long run. Jump. The girls watch in awe, and Mo Fan recognizes his skills. The fat man doesn't understand how this can impress anyone at all. At this time, Xiao who had already. He tied the rope to a tree at the other end and told his brother Fan that he was with everything. He's done it, and they can use the rope to get to him. While the hero's squad climbs over canyon, they are being watched through binoculars by an instructor. The subordinate still decides to clarify whether the leader was not serious about the execution. The kid's task. The same person does not see any problem in this, but the interlocutor recalls that down in the grassy grove there was something scary. The man asks the guy to think again. With his head, after all, he had exterminated those one-eyed wolves in the grass grove long ago. The instructor laughs, and his subordinate notices that he is beginning to feel like a fool, mentally emphasizing that the boss was getting so conceited for one such act. The kid decides, okay, so as soon as the students reach the grove, they will credit them all with completing the task. Tasks. The man also says that everything will not be so simple, so Bai Yang will call there. The monster, the subordinate clarifies, gets that the kids will have to get rid of it. girl, standing on the other side of the man, asks a friend not to worry about this because we're not even sure they'll make it to the grove. The leader declares that he will teach these brats a lesson that they will never forget, because the life of a wizard is full of dangers. One of the girls sadly notices that now you will have to trudge through the forest belt, after which you will have to leave. Overcoming the ridge, a friend recalls that she recently complained to her that she had cookies in her. These mountain ranges are sitting there, so shouldn't this change of scenery be good for you? The diversity of their path. The girl laughs, saying that she was just joking. Mo-Fan calls on everyone. Shut up. The hero reports that there is something ahead. From the thicket you can hear the rustle of leaves, and that's all. They are wary of what is happening. Mo-Fan unleashes a fire strike when he sees an attack in the form of an ice vine. It turns out that it was Mubai who attacked, mistaking the hero's group for enemies. Mubai admits that he didn't think they could go this far. The hero's friend says that if you don't, his fat six that constantly slowed them down, they would have reached the end of the road long ago. A grassy grove. Deputy Mo-Fan notes, since they still met, then they should have unite and work together. Then, somewhere in the back, I hear the voice of a fat man who recognizes the young man. Mr. Mubai. The boy runs to his master, glad that he finally got here. Halfway through, on the way, he trips over a branch and falls flat on the ground. Mubai mentally asks, what is this? The idiot is up to it this time. The bully cries, making round eyes. Then a vine twists around the fat man's leg and lifts him into the air. One of the Mu group. Bea urges Togo not to mess with this group, because the grove is directly ahead, so they can get to the goal first. Zio, who puts his hand on Mubai's shoulder, not understanding why he is not doing anything. The guy calls. The geniuses help them get him out of these vines. However, the blue-haired one freezes in place, starting to hesitate. Deputy Mubai asks them not to waste their time, because if they are not going to go, then, and they should not be delayed. This is where the vines make themselves felt. Several dozen of them burst out from all sides at once, wrapping themselves around the body of young magicians. Mubai's entire team is trapped. They ask for their leader. Mr. Mubai, save them. One of the girls from Mo-Fan's team starts to wrap a vine around her leg, but she quickly gets caught in the process, reacts by using its fire power and freeing itself. They exhale, but she doesn't have time to catch her breath. Zio Yu, who had fallen into a trap after all, called out to her from behind. Wielder of power. Fire is about to unleash her power again to save her friend. She is stopped by Mo-Fan, who notices that her fireball can easily hit E. So the hero turns to Mubai, urging him to use his ice magic to protect everyone. The blue-haired man agrees, after which, concentrating a huge number of energy, uses an ice blast. When the vines are frozen and immobilized by Mubai's ice power, the hero issues a command to everyone. The rest of you should attack these vines. The element of fire and lightning easily destroys plants. Is passing a little time as everyone rejoices in their salvation. Two friends embrace, happy that they are still alive, and the fat man is lying on the ground, wanting to go home. Mo-Fan also informs everyone that they can't stay here for long, so he calls out, get out of the woods before something else happens. Two groups get to the grass road. Groves. The girls are happy that they have finally made it, and the fat man prays that they will be saved. Arriving here meant that they had managed to complete the mission. The hero thinks about it, trying not to let your guard down. Mo-Fan notices that the water level in the lake is unnaturally low, and he thinks that the task, what they were given, can't be that easy. From the depths of the caves comes the roar of the terrible. A monster, and two red eyes light up in the darkness. Everyone freezes, not understanding what is happening and where this earthquake came from. Here are the members of two teams and spots a monster moving in their direction. Fear appears on their faces and panic from the forest shows the figures of an unusual wolf. His eyes are glowing red, and his tail is flowing as if it were a bird. It consists of a red haze, sharp claws on the paws, fangs protruding from the mouth and spine, which comes to the surface. All this creates a terrible image of a monster. The girls are getting started, trembling, begging not to go near them. One of the guys grabs a friend by the scruff of the neck, starting to drag him along. By myself in a pathetic attempt to escape. Everyone thinks they've met the one-eyed demonic, a wolf. It's then that Mo-Fan notices that it's not a one-eyed demonic wolf at all. The fat man states that no one cares about this at all, so it's better to just run away, and you can deal with it later. Mentally, the hero notices that ordinary students that only run away how to escape from the battlefield. Fearing for their lives, this monster strikes with a single blow. The hero is pulled by someone's shoulder. This someone turns out to be his friend, who asks to be allowed help him. The other members of his team also have no intention of staying away, just like Mubai, who asks you to understand him correctly because he is going to help him only for the sake of grades, and so he doesn't care if the others survive or not. The group quickly puts on their hunter's clothes, and Mo Fan urges everyone to get ready. His second-in-command declares that they will show the monster what they can do. The monster draws attention to the group and jumps high into the sky. The friend starts the attack first, a hero who uses his wind power to deal damage to a monster, but the last one, I don't care about that. He just snarls angrily at it, which makes the kid realize that he's just trying to get out of it. Angered the enemy. Here the examiner calls the teenagers worthless, asking if there is really no one among them who can help them, able to defeat this monster. Here, the monster's paw almost reaches the wind mage. Mubai uses his power of ice and freezes a part of the wolf's torso, summoning a companion. Get out of here while we still have the chance. A friend of the hero notices that the next exit is from a mountain valley, so they can take advantage of the local area to gain an advantage, but the girl stops the group, noting that she can't find Hiyu. The guys freeze in place, trying to digest what was said. Mubai notices that the ice won't hold for long, so he has to think of something quickly. Here, they find Wai. Hiyu is sitting next to a rock, not far from the monster's frozen paw. Chi sobs, calling out to Min Min and Xiao for help. Everyone turns to the hero, expecting some plan of action from him, and it is there. Mo Fan, says Xiao, who will go after him because he is the fastest, and Mubai will cover for him. At that time, Zhu Min Zhujiaoding, and he will prepare the battle spells to move into the offensive. Everyone except Mubai, who clucked, agrees to the plan. Then the beast breaks free of the icy grip, drawing attention to the girl next to it. Mubai. He repeats his technique to stop the monster's attack, and Xiao, who uses his power, wind speed to speed up. While the blue-haired man restrains the wolf, the owner of the wind power pulls the girl out of a dangerous situation. Intimacy with the monster, asking if she was okay. The latter gives a positive answer. Thanks for saving me. Mubai shouts that it's not the time to let their emotions run wild, so they should hurry up and help them. However, Min Min says that they need to stick to their roles, as long as each of them has a role to play. If they use their own type of magic and complete the task assigned to them, they will be able to defeat this one. The monster. The trio of attackers have prepared a magic formation, and their magic is ready to strike back. The trio releases their powers into the beast, and the wind power wielder amplifies the hero's flames with a wind vortex. A huge cloud of dust rises into the air. The owner of the power of lightning rejoices that they did it. Min Min admits that she didn't know what their entry-level magic could do. Such a powerful effect. Only the hero asks to wait, noticing that something is wrong. From the curtains, an angry growl is heard. The monster turns out to be still alive, which surprises everyone present. The owner of the power of lightning asks everyone to hurry up, because the exit from the valley is already very close. The group begins to run into a small crevice, but a huge wolf breaks in front of them. The group, bringing up the rear of the party, is Mo Fan, who the monster grabs by the cloak, trying to pull out of the water. However, a friend forcibly drags him into a safe zone, allowing him to survive. The monster roars a few centimeters away from them, but it can't reach them because of its large size. The hero thanks the guy, and he asks not to worry and offers to take advantage of the fact that the thing can't get in here. He wants to try something out. The monster throws its face back to the ground. Then it turns around and starts running away. The owner of the lightning bolt exhales calmly, realizing that he is finally gone. Min Min states that, after all, demons weren't particularly witty. Then a pebble falls from the top and Xiao, who is the first to notice that the monster did not leave them alone at all, but climbed to the top. The monster cannot reach its victims by itself, but it begins to collapse the cliff face, then blocks of stones begin to fall on the group. Mo Fan focuses on his own strength, collects stars in formation and use deadly flames. The girl notices that deadly flame is already the second level of magic. Mubai looks on in disbelief, trying to figure out when his opponent managed to learn this. Then one of the subordinates tells the boss that there is a student who used a deadly weapon, the flame, so he suggests that we finish here and take stock of the practice. The teacher praises Miss Tanyu, saying that she really is a great teacher. After all, who would have thought that a newbie can use second-level magic? The girl modestly replies that if he hadn't studied them in theory, he wouldn't have been able to advance so quickly. Man agrees to end the test. The girl with the square asks Bayan to recall the beast, and he nervously responds after a few moments that he had lost control of the demonic beast. This news compels everyone present, frightened and earnest, because children are in real danger. Mo-fan mentally notes that he had no idea what the difference in power was between the former's magic and the second level will be so big, because the magic of the second level is able to break the stone, shattered in the blink of an eye. However, he thinks that against this monster, all of his strength is still there. Not enough. Breaking away from studying the new force, the hero decides to find out if the people are all right. Ming Ming confesses that it is a real blessing that Mo-fan can use magic. However, the friend does not know what to do, because their escape route is completely cut off. The owner of the element of fire offers to go from the top, if there is no longer a monster there. Mo-fan is the same. He realizes that this stone is too thick, so even second level magic will be there. It's useless, so we need to think of something else. The hero claims that he has discovered a cave in the valley, so they can lure the monster there. Moo Bai urges the guy to stop playing hero, and who the hell wants to be saved like that? Trash like him. Mo-fan calls Xiao Hu, saying that in any case, they will need at least to try. The hero tells his friend the plan. He wants the owner of the wind element to lure him in. The monster went into the cave, and then found a safe place and hid there. Everything else will take on. However, his friend does not like this plan, because he is not the kind of person who gives up. Leave your friends to fend for themselves. The hero also asks not to worry about him, because he still has. There are a couple of aces up your sleeve. At this time, the teacher decides to find out what they meant by they lost control of a summoned monster, and hadn't they promised him earlier that everything would be fine? The man declares that he will notify his superiors about this. Jan Kun calls out to the other person, "Shut up," because this is his territory, and he never throws words to the wind, so he will definitely fulfill his promise. The teacher wants to say something else, not understanding who this person thinks he is, but the teacher asks him to stop, emphasizing that they are not familiar with this area, so all they can do is trust them. The subordinate informs the boss that the students abruptly move back into the grass grove, and the monster summoned by Bayan at this moment. The moment haunts them. This news startles the man. Huge wings open behind the chief examiner, and he himself informs that he will get there first. He orders his own men to form a squad and move out after him. Bayan is also given an order to assemble a medical team. The latter should make sure that we moved out when we were ready. Subordinates salute when taking orders from the leader. Meanwhile, in a grassy grove, inside a cave, the wind mage is running away from a monster that is fiercely follows it. The guy's speed gradually decreases, and the creature's fangs are getting closer and closer, next to the fleeing person's skin. When the monster's paw was about to catch up with the one in the case, the hero intervenes, sending second-level magic to detain Xiao, who admits that he was worried that his wind trail would be too fast, and that just leave him alone. What a blessing that it is not so. The hero also thanks a friend for the work done, emphasizing that then he himself will take care of the rest. Mo-fan asks the guy to go hide somewhere and leave the rest to him. However, Xiao Hu still doubts this plan. The hero just asks you to trust him. The friend still agrees, saying that he would wait for good news from him. The monster notices that the wind mage is starting to run away. He snarls, ready to give chase. However, the flow of fire in the muzzle makes him moderate his ardor. Blood is pouring out of the monster's mouth, and the hero does not understand where he is looking, because it is he who is looking is its opponent. The wolf growls at this, but still takes a fighting stance. Turning to face the guy, the monster takes off, attacking the hero. The last jump goes to the side, however. The long claws still reach him, leaving a gash on his leg. Mo-fan switches to the power of thunder and uses a flash of light to attack his opponent. Because of wounds to his feet, he has to rest his free hand on a rock to keep from falling. The sound of a wounded animal's scream echoes through the cave, and the girl from the guy's team freezes as she hears these sounds. She assumes that it was Brother Fan who did the trick. The hero's attack does not kill the monster, but the monster has many wounds on its body, bleeding to death. The monster is in no hurry to give up, continuing to stand on all fours. Mo-fan's leg is shaking. The wound, it was too deep, so he can't move anymore. After concentrating his powers, the hero summons fire. The deadly flame bursts out of his hand, however. It flies higher than the target. The creature raises its head, then returns its gaze with an angry snarl. To the guy, already anticipating victory, Mo-fan asks him if he thought he had missed. The guy laughs painfully. After that, a huge stalactite breaks off from the ceiling of the cave and falls on the wolf, nailing it to the ground.